Starting a new job can be absolutely terrifying. They say it takes between 6 and 12 months just to feel like you know where the bathroom is. Well, today I want to share a few easy tactics I've used to confidently show up and crush it in a new role. Hey folks, my name is Kevin and I've worked a few different jobs. I was a civil engineer, then an intern, then a software engineer. Now I'm starting my own company. So I've started from the bottom in quite a few different roles. Before that, I worked a lot of part-time jobs. So I'm going to share with you the tactics that I've personally used at almost every single one of those positions to get that early start. Now, they've worked for me. They might not work for you. So take them with a grain of salt or just disregard everything I say. Totally fine. So let's hop right into the list. The first step that I do before the first day of the job even is company research. I look at how the company has shown up in the news as well as what they've put out for press releases. I want to understand, how does this company fit into the culture? How does it fit into the world? And this context also helps me on the first day understand how my job might help serve those interests. The second thing I do is I build a daily list of questions. I'm a very curious person and I'm okay with sounding dumb. So like from the very first minute when I start, I keep a journal, like usually a hard sheet of paper, and I write down every single thing that comes to my mind. If I hear a name that I don't know, I'll write it down. If I hear some backstory about something, I'll write it down. I keep this list and I build it throughout the entire day, and I try to unload as much as I can at the end of the day on someone who can help me answer those questions, usually whoever's onboarding me, to try to get a lay of the land. You know, every company has its lore, inside jokes, they have their technology, they have their tools, software, processes, acronyms, you name it. Getting a head start on those can be a really big thing because it helps you build your vocabulary and your understanding of the situation. The third thing I do is I map my own onboarding process. Onboarding processes are a very critical part of a company, especially when you're trying to build a culture. When we have a new employee and we want them to be active and productive, how do we get them from A to B? So as a kind of a gift almost to the company, but also to myself, I try to document every stage of my personal journey so that I understand how well it went, and I can suggest improvements or I can see the bottlenecks that might be there so that the next person has a better experience. Things I look for. Did I have all the access to the tools that I needed? Did I have all the equipment that I needed? Was I added to the meetings that I was supposed to be added? There's a lot of different things. It might depend on your role, but I try to map these things and understand them so that I can help give back to the company and we can onboard the next person even better. The fourth thing I try to do is identify somebody in the company that I can meet with weekly who I can talk to about my experience. I usually ask them a lot of questions too, but this person is valuable because they can kind of mentor you through the early stages, the growth pains of starting a new position. Now, I don't meet with them for the entirety of my career there, but I try to kind of keep that a regular cadence because they can help introduce you to other key people in the company, but they can also be there for you when you kind of have those weird work questions that you're really not sure who to ask. And sometimes you really can't even ask your team. This can be that person for you. The fifth thing I do, and I think this is a super critical one, is I try to identify what is a quick early win that I can accomplish in my first month on the job. Now, this serves a lot of purposes. First and foremost, it very clearly tells me in my new role, what am I expected to do? You know, expectations are big for me. And the second thing it does is by making it very clear what I'm supposed to deliver, you can get a sense of the metrics or the KPIs, or like what is performance really going to be measured by? You know, because the way that that question is answered to you tells you a lot about what you're expected to do in your new role. We all know that the description that's on the job for the posting and the interview, you know, that really never matches reality in its entirety because jobs are more complicated than that and they sometimes can't go there. So having a quick early win helps accelerate your ability to deliver value to the company. The sixth thing I did kind of encompasses a lot of what we talked about, and that's to build context and identify the purpose. Now, we talked about researching the company, figuring out where the company fits in the world, but ultimately, I want to know where my new role fits into the company. You know, what is the purpose of me and my team? What are we even doing here? If I don't have a purpose, if I can't find that, you know, if I was led by the interview to believe that it's going to be a certain way and I get there and I'm just not sure, well then, like, what's the whole point of doing anything in the new role? So I try to figure out what is the purpose of my job? You know, how do I really deliver value? Who are the key stakeholders for my position that I'm serving and also that I need to serve my team and my needs? And build that map in your mind. So my 7th point is to study the power dynamics in the company. Every organization has 2 org charts. 1 is the official reporting structure, and 2 is the actual structure of how influence is managed in the company. We all know that there are certain managers and key people who have been there for a while, or they know a lot, and they actually have a lot of control over a domain that on paper it might not look like they have that. So I try to watch for all the people in the roles that they have when I start out. And a lot of this is looking at what people say versus what they do, and trying to piece all the puzzle pieces together when I'm asking these questions. Now there's really like 4 different types of people. There's allies. These are people that will help you and be good for you to know. There's bureaucrats who have been there for a while and they want to protect the status quo. There's just kind of the role players. I do my job, I collect my check, I go home. They're harmless, but it's good to understand that that's their motivation. And the 4th type is leaders. These are the people that are really charging ahead in the company. They're good people to hitch your wagon to because they're doing great things. They're pushing the mission of the company forward, and they're people you really want to identify as leaders. And sometimes these leaders aren't even people in positions of real authority. They're just leading from where they are, and that's an awesome thing to know. And so my last point is for those who are really willing to go the extra step, and it's something that I did early on, and it's how I got my internship over in 3 weeks and hired full time, and that is to build an extracurricular learning curriculum. Now, a lot of things come up during the course of the day, new tools, new technology, new software, things that you're maybe not super familiar with. I would put these on my list for the day, and then when I went home a few nights a week and on the weekend, I would study them. I'd pull up YouTube or I'd Google my butt off, try to figure out what's really going on here and try to really accelerate my technical understanding of those different things. Now that did a lot of things. When I showed up the next day, I was able to ask more intelligent questions. I was able to be more useful in some of those domains. A lot of things that we do at a job, we'll put them on our resume, and really they're like the edge of the resume. We hope they don't come up, but sometimes they do. So this is the opportunity that I take to learn about those things in my own time because you're busy doing the job during the day, so that I can be super useful and a little more relevant day to day without having to waste a lot of time on training. And that really shortens the timeline. So those are my tips. Leave a comment. What have you done to get going in a job as quick as possible? Land some tips on me. And if you found any of this valuable, subscribe if you want. Hope to see you in the next video. Have a great week. Bye-bye.